Hello, I'm Yosra Miladi, web and mobile software engineer at InstaDeep. Also, I'm GDG Carthage co-lead. Yesterday, Khalid Batish did an introduction of Flutter. He spoke about uses of Flutter and advantages. In my presentation today, I will focus basically on how it works, and I will show you a little example of how to build your application with Flutter. So let's start first by an introduction. Today, smartphones use different operating systems that allowing users to choose the platform to their need and preference. Does this mean that you need to create multiple versions of the same application, and it's wasting of time and resources and efforts that can be spent on other projects? Cross-platform application development tools are providing the functionality necessary to create and maintain a single universal code base. An hybrid cross-platform application wraps a basic code base in platform-specific containers, ensuring organic display and smooth function on different devices. This can be done without having to learn the native programming languages as Swift for iOS and Java Kotlin for Android applications. So, so why go for hybrid mobile applications? It helps companies save time and money because instead of paying, for example, 2 or 3 developers, the company hire only one and he make the application working for multiple devices. Hybrid applications also are easy to maintain because it's developed on the same code base. And finally, minimum requirements of technologies background, because it doesn't use native code like Java or Swift or Objective-C. It uses, in general, simple languages like HTML, CSS, or React, etc. So there are many platforms to make an hybrid mobile applications, such as React Native, Ionic, PhoneGap, etc. In this session, we are focused in Flutter platform, which is a Flutter, which is a Google UI toolkit for building beautiful natively compiled applications for mobile, web, and desktop from a single code base. Flutter has been around since 2015 when Google introduced it and remained in the beta stage before its official launch in December 2018. Flutter uses Dart language. It's a client-optimized programming language for apps on multiple platforms. It's developed by Google also and is used to build mobile, desktop, or web applications. So in Dart, we say everything is widget. So the central idea behind Flutter is the use of widget. Widget is not just a piece of UI. Widget is also more than just structural element than buttons, for example, text or images, and it might display something. It may handle user interactions. So now let's move to see how widgets are working and run our first applications. So first, we have to run the Android Studio. So here we find, yes, Android Studio. So I want to show you first what is the application that we're gonna make today. So here is the screen. So as you see, first we need to identify the larger element of the screen that will contain the whole page. In this example, we find 4 global elements, an image, and 2 rows, and here a block of text. Next, let's have a look on each row. We're gonna call the first one, which is the title section. Here we find the title section that has 3 children. A column where we found the text, and a star icon, and this number. So we find here a row that contains the 3 children. This is the text, and this is the icon, and this is the number. So let's move to the Android Studio. So here we're gonna create, so if you have already Flutter plugin is installed, we're gonna move directly to create a new project. So new Flutter project. So I will choose Flutter Application. Next, I will call example 1. Next. So I need to wait some seconds to be created the project. Okay. So here there is our project. Let's run it before to see how it works. So I have already launched the emulator. So I'm gonna run the project. So as you see, here it's running. So it's installing the application. Okay. Okay, so here the application is running. So it's an example of application which is run by default when we create a Flutter project. So here, what I'm gonna make, so I will delete the code that I will not use it here. And let's focus on this block. So in this function, it's a main function that builds the application. So there is, as we see here, the material app that's configured the top level navigator to search for routes. So without it, the application will not be running. So here, let's focus to the home property. So first, I want to make some changes to see what's the difference. So I'm creating a scaffold widget, which is a widget that implements the basic material design visual for our project. And inside of it, I will create an app bar. An app bar that contains a title, and I'm saving. So what I did is just saving here, and Flutter has a very useful property, which is a hot reload. The hot reload, I can reload the application, but it reloads basically only the changes that I made in the application, not the whole one. So here I see in the screen. So I modified the top bar, and here we see the title in the top bar. So let's move to our example. So we're gonna build as I said before, this screen, this one. So I will start by the first section, the title. So I will start by implementing this section. So here, what I will do, so creating each widget in just separate from the main code. So the first one, I will create widget, which called title section. So here I will create a container. So the container is a widget that will contain the whole section. So inside of it, I will create a padding. So in the padding, so there is another property or widget which called edge inside all. So it's used for an offset from each of the 4 sides of the box. So I will create this edge. So, like we say in web, when we make HTML page, so we say padding, for example, 32. It means that we make padding for the top and bottom and right and left area. So here, padding. And inside of the container, I will create the child. So the child here, it's so we have the first child, which is the text, the column of the two text, and the icon and the number. So the first child is the column. So here I will put it in an expanded. An expanded widget, it makes a child of a row column or, for example, a flex to fill the available space along the main axis. For example, if we have multiple elements, it will divide the space between them. So here we have only one. So expanded will contain the first child, which is the column of the two texts. And inside, I will create a cross-axis alignment and just for to make the children placed along the cross-axis. So it will start from the left side. After that, the column has children. So I will create the children, and after that, we have two texts. So I will create a container, and inside the container, I have a padding. Sorry. So I will show here the difference between the H insert all and H insert only. So the only, I have to make only the padding in the bottom side. And here I have the child, so text. So I will put, for example, title 1. So this is the first text. And we have, sorry. So I have the second one. But let's style before the first text. So just text style. I will make the font weight as bold. And that's it. So this is the first chat. And now I will create the second one, the second text. Subtitle. So for the text style here, I will just put a color, which is gray. I have a widget that contains all the colors that we need. So gray, for example, 500. And now I finished implementing the first section here. Now I will make the icon, the star icon, and the number. So I'm back to Android Studio. So we have to be careful when we write the code, because if I write in the wrong place, so it will be shown in the wrong place in the screen. So here I close the title widget, and it's need to be here. So let's create So I will make the color. I will put the color blue of the icon. So I'm sorry, it's red. So I think there is something wrong here. Just I'm checking if I put the icon in the right place. Okay. And here finally we have the text, which is the number. So here I created the title section, and what I need to do now is to call the title section inside the main function. Instead of the text hello world, I will create a body and make so create a column. So why I created the column? Because here in the page, in the main page, as we see, so we have the whole sections are put in are in the screen. So in the column side. So here I call the title section. So I'm saving. So here I think there is an error. So to not lose a lot of time, I will take my section here from the example that I already prepared it. So I will take it. Okay, so I saved it. Okay, so here you see that the title and the star and the number are inside a column. That's what we have to do to make it in a row. So it will be shown in an horizontal line. Okay, so here. I'm restarting the application. So here you see the text and the star and the number are in a row line. So now let's move to the second section, which is the button section. So what I'm gonna do here, so as I did in widget section, so I will create a column called, for example, build button. It will take different parameters. So a color, which is called color, and an icon data, icon, for example, and a string, which is a label. And it will return a column So I'm creating the column of the icon. So I will give a main axis size property. And an alignment too. You can find the whole properties in the official documentation of Flutter, because really there are a lot, but it needs a practice to learn it. Main axis alignment, so in center. So here I will add the children. So the first child is the icon. So it will contain the icon that I put in as a parameter, and the color. Now I will create a container . So this container will contain the label. So I will add a margin. So only in the top, for example, 8. And the child, which is a text. This text, I will call the label and give it some style, like like the font size, for example, 12, the font weight, try for example. Okay. So here what I did, so I created a column, but I didn't add the parameters. And what I have to do now is to create the widget that will call this function and pass the color and the icon and the level as a parameters. So here I will the widget. So I'm creating the widget. Example, I will call it button section. So it's a container that will contain, here let's add a child and a row, and inside of the row I will put a main axis alignment of and space between or space event. For example, here the children. So the children I will call here 3 times this function. So in the first one, I will put the color. Icons dot call. So it's defined by default in Flutter. So it will display the icon call directly. So the same for we have location. So it's called near me. For example, and chair. So here is color. So what I gotta do is to define color. For example, color. So I will use the primary color of the theme that I'm working on. So this definition has to be inside of the build. Okay, so finally what I have to do is to add, like I made in title section, here I will add the button section and save. So here we find the icons just on the bottom of the first section. So now what I have to do now is, let's come back to the presentation before. So we have the text section here. So I will add a widget for the text quickly because I only have 15 minutes. So section. So it's a container that has a padding. So I will put padding, sorry, in all edges. Child. So here is the text. Example, some text here. And I will add a property here, soft wrap through. By setting soft wrap through, text lines will fill the column width before wrapping at a word boundary. So that's it. I have an error here. So I will call these widgets inside the main page, text section. Okay, so here is the text. Finally, what is missing? So this image. So I will create so first of all, in this file, public spec yam, so there is a properties that I have to add it. So I have to add an image. So in the line, just on the bottom of uses material design. So I have to add sets. So it's showing here and images slash, for example, lake. So here I need to create a folder which is called images and drag and drop this image that I have already. Okay. And now just I will add the code. So the image has to be on the top. So I have to add the image before the text section. So I'm going to write image assets. Images / lake. And give it some properties like the width, for example, 600, and the height, 240, and make it fit as cover. Okay. So the error that I had here, it's regular because we have to make to be careful when we write when we add assets, because the format needs to be respected. So I think that I'm missing a space. So now I think that it's reloading. So, okay. So here the image is appearing. So just I want to modify here the text, hello world, first Flutter application. Okay. So this example, so I'm showing you to how to build your first application. So it's not difficult because the language of Dart, it doesn't need the requirements of Java or HTML, etc. But just you need to be familiar with the widgets, and by practice you can create multiple widgets, and why not to try multiple widgets. So thank you for your attention, and I hope see you soon in next workshop.